Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's virtual plant clinic. My name is Bill Lester. I'm with University of Florida IFAS Extension Service in Hernando County. And here with me today is my regular co-host, Lily Browning, who is the Hernando County Florida Friendly Landscape Coordinator. She coordinates the program and not people's landscapes. So I think I got that right.
Pretty close. You could just say
Close
program
enough.
coordinator and you won't have to explain all the rest.
She does Florida Friendly Landscape stuff.
I do.
And we also have one of our Master Gardener volunteers here with us today, Bernie. Good morning, Bernie. How are you doing?
Good morning. Doing well.
Have you had to answer any questions yet this morning? It's still a little early, but people start
No,
early.
it's been quiet this morning, so I'm waiting for the deluge to start.
Well,
we
I
have a
have,
holiday weekend coming up, so hopefully.
yeah, it's been quiet. It's even been quiet
Oh.
here. Yeah. It's too hot for people to even think, I think.
It's beautiful outside. What are you talking about?
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
What is this? This morning is a new phenomenon for me because in Florida, spring and fall fog is quite normal because of the difference between the Gulf and the Gulf temperature and the air temperature in the spring and the fall. What is this hot fog that we had this morning? I've never experienced hot fog. It's not part of the Canadian forest fires, is it, Bernie?
No, but it sure was dense. I was amazed. And there's so many people that don't turn their lights on that don't understand that. We had probably 300 feet visibility maximum. In a lot of places today, and people don't slow down. So when you're running 60 mile an hour in a 50 mile an hour zone, and it's that foggy, if there's any problem at all, an accident or whatever, you're going to get to the point of the accident a lot quicker than you intended.
You would think most cars have auto lights on, but some people turn that auto part off, but those who, I drive so many different cars between the work vehicle, my husband's vehicle, my vehicle. So sometimes I don't remember that the work one, I have to actually turn the lights on. So I guess.
Yeah, newer vehicles are nice because they do it all for you. When it starts to rain, they make the windshield wipers go on.
Wow.
Yeah.
These lights that outline the headlights on some of the new cars, those are fairly effective. If you're not going to run the headlights, at least those things give you some indication there's a car there.
Right.
So I like that. My car has the headlights on as soon as you turn the ignition on. And I didn't like that to begin with, but that as often as we get rains through the spring or through the June, July time here, it really makes good sense in this area because there are so many people that don't turn their lights on, and I don't understand it. But that's
well, I've given you a mission for the day. Find out what this fog is and why it's here and where it's coming from, because in 45 years, I've never experienced hot fog before.
Well, it's a function of the dew point. The humidity was very high. The temperature was very high. And when the temperature dropped below the dew point, you get fog.
Okay, so it's because it was so hot.
It's because it was so hot and the humidity was so high. And then we had enough drop in temperature overnight that the temperature fell to the dew point. And at the dew point, all that water becomes fog. It drops out of suspension in the air.
So Lori has a question, and
that has nothing to do with highway safety.
I know Alyssa has mentioned you could put mosquito fish in a rain barrel. I'm not sure how I feel about that. How do you feel about that, Bernie?
I think it's a good idea. The mosquito
the fish will be okay in there?
Probably not. They aren't going to survive, but that's one of those things that they wouldn't survive anyway. So they're just a pawn in the overall scheme of things.
And you'll have fish fertilizer in your water. What's
It's good for the
stuck in my
plant.
spigot? Oh, just some fish bones there. Yeah, Lori.
We
I know,
had
like you
Alyssa with Hernando County Mosquito Control on recently, and there is her email.
Yes.
If you want to go ahead and shoot her an email, if you need fish, they will give them to you for free.
Right. But see, I've never heard anybody from UF or Florida Friendly Landscaping recommend putting mosquito fish in a rain barrel. Alyssa seems to think it's okay. So, I guess here you got to weigh out your options. They probably will die, as Bernie said. So,
if that rain barrel runs dry, they will die.
Right. See, now when we're talking about putting them in a pond, that's going to stay, have water in it, putting them in a horse's trough or something, that's always going to have water in it. A rain barrel, it's not always going to have water in it. And plus, those other things I mentioned are not sealed off, like a rain barrel. So
something probably that's going to be more effective in a rain barrel is to get the BT granules or BT bits and sprinkle some of them in, or BT dunks.
Right.
And the only difference is the BT dunk is like
shaped
like a hockey puck, and the bits are the hockey pucks ground up into little granules.
And you could do that with the puck yourself.
You could do that with a hammer.
Yeah. When I give the rain barrel workshops, we recommend the BT, the dunks. Or some people every so often put like a tablespoon of vegetable oil to coat the top, because mosquito larvae, they're not going to live deep down in your barrel. They have to float along the top, and they have like little straws with which they're breathing. So that coat of oil smothers that. Even some people spray some Pam, over the top to combat that. Yeah. So you decide which one you want, talk further to Alyssa. I'm going to say I don't have enough knowledge about it, but I would not personally do it. So.
And there's her email once again.
I'm sorry, Bernie?
Alyssa did recommend it.
I know she did. So.
She's an expert.
Yeah. So anyway, I think it's great, like I said, for ornamental ponds, agricultural ponds, horse troughs, even swimming pools that the pump is broken, you don't have any money to get it fixed for now. You can go have some fish put in there. It's not going to turn your pool clear. You will still have a green pool. It's just you and your neighbors won't have mosquitoes from it. So sorry that I couldn't give you a clear answer. I guess the clear answer is do your research further.
So if anybody has any kind of lawn and garden and landscape questions, please feel free to share them in the comments, and we'll do our very best to answer them. If it's outside of those topics, like highway safety, meteorology,
we'll talk about that too. Why not?
We'll give it a shot.
I've got a plant that I think more people should put in, and I really enjoy it, really like it. It's osmanthus, it's tea olive.
Oh yeah, I've heard that they smell marvelous.
It's unbelievable how aromatic they are and how great it smells. We had one, and it was where we put Susie's little office, and we took it out for that. But I really miss it. It was about 15 feet from the house, and you could sit out on the porch just about any time the thing was in flower, which was 6 months out of the year. And it was just a gorgeous aroma. It was very, very fragrant.
And what he said was tea olive, in case anyone didn't. Yes.
Tea olive.
TEA olive.
Right.
Osmanthus, yes.
Yeah,
I think it's fragrance or something like that, indicating.
That's exactly what it is. Osmanthus
Yeah.
fragrance.
Yeah. I have heard of those, and I've always thought about getting one, but yeah, just because they're so aromatic.
But it's a great plant. It does very well here, survives the temperatures we get. So I'm not sure, but I think it may even be good north of here. So
Oh, north of here. I thought you were going to say you thought it was a native. I was going to say no.
It's not a native, but it's one of those plants that has a very broad temperature tolerance. So people that are Florida residents anyway, watching us, see, here we go. Monique's got one.
Mm-hmm.
So just something I thought I'd bring up. One of those plants that I really like. There aren't very many that I really get excited about, but that is one.
Yeah, they're not very common.
Maybe they should be. Bernie is on a mission to make them common. Tea olive is on page 59 of the Florida Friendly Landscaping book. Let's see what it says about it. Tea olive for 8B and 9. So we might be on its southern edge.
Yeah.
According to them. It's a slow grower. It'll get between 15 and 30 feet high. 15 and 20
about 25 years.
Well, I said it was a slow grower.
Yeah, it is.
It likes it dry. It only has one water drop that is completely dry, here in the, that means it wants it as dry as possible. It likes full to partial sun, but it has little to no salt tolerance if you're on the coast. As white, fragrant, fall through spring flowers. So there you go. I think Sam has a question, yes, about snails and slugs away from the vegetable garden.
That's an easy one. You use the little tray with some beer in it, and you put about a third of the can of beer in the tray. You drink the rest of the can. You sit there and you watch them. And if you do this often enough, when they come by, you can stomp on them and it won't bother you a bit.
Or you're just drunk and you don't care anymore. Is that if you keep doing?
Well, you don't need quite that much beer, but what else are you going to do if you're just worried about slugs and snails?
Well, what's your advice?
Everybody has some. I mean, you can't sanitize the great outdoors. We all have at least some snails and slugs, but if you have too many, trapping them and disposing of them that way is going to be the most effective thing to do. You're not going to get rid of every last one.
So that really is what you recommend, a little plate of beer.
That works if you take a piece of cardboard and set it on the ground out there overnight. When dawn comes, they will hide underneath the cardboard, and that's another way to get them all together in one spot for you to dispatch of them or dispose of them.
There's not a molluscicide.
A special chemical. It's called a molluscicide, and none of these ordinary insect killers work. So if you decide you want to spend the money on something to spray them with, make sure it says it's a molluscicide.
And there's very few to pick from. There's very few to pick from. I think there's only one that homeowners could buy at a big box store, and the state uses another one for outbreaks of invasive snails. So there's really only 2 molluscicides you could choose from.
The little bitty snails, I have thousands of those, and they really don't do all that much damage. Now, if you're in a vegetable garden situation, the slugs are a problem, and the beer trap actually does work. I was kind of joking about that, but that is a serious and
what's in the beer that attracts them? Was it the yeast or what is it?
I don't know. It doesn't have to have the alcohol. Whatever's bringing them in is possibly the yeast or something from the brewing, because the alcohol content's not very important.
Well, no, but it'll dry them up.
Mostly liquid carbohydrates. So I would assume they find it attractive.
Maybe it's just the aroma draws them in and the liquid drowns them. And of course, there's the old thing you did when you were a kid where you went out and salted them.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that you
somebody with a salt shaker. What if you surrounded your garden with shake? If you got like several cans of Morton salt with salt, and shook it all around, would that be effective until it rains?
Well, it would be damaging to the soil. The problem.
Yeah, nothing would grow there for a while. The Romans used to do that.
It would keep witches. It would keep witches out of your garden, though, too. So,
yeah.
Train the squirrels and the rabbits to operate the salt shakers.
And you can use cheap beer. You don't have to get the good stuff for the snails. They're not that picky.
Interesting.
We have a question that I know what she's talking about, but I'm not really sure what the answer is. So, good morning, Karen. Karen's from Palm Beach County, which is south of here. Are you having any clients with lychee Erinose mites? No, because I don't know of anybody here in Hernando County that has lychees. I would love to be able to grow lychees. I'm so jealous of you guys from Palm Beach County and Miami and Homestead and points south of there that are able to grow them. Lychee Erinose mites are a new invasive pest that's a problem with lychees down in South Florida. I don't know if the state is tracking them or not. As in, if you get them, you're supposed to report it. If you look online, University of Florida has a lot of information about how to manage them and how to deal with them. So, Karen, if you have a problem with them, UF has a lot of information. But honestly, Bernie, have you ever gotten a phone call from anybody growing lychees up here?
I've never had anybody tell me that they were actually growing lychees here.
You know, we're just outside of where you can. Parts of Osceola County, Polk County, you can grow them there. And we're just a little bit north of there. So maybe in a really, really protected spot. And if you're going to if you have a way to go out there and diligently cover it in the winter to protect it from damage, it's going to take longer to grow a mature tree because they're really not going to grow during the winter here. They will grow just fine during the summer. Yeah, that's one of those things that I need to experiment with. So,
lychee. Oh, we have it in the book. Let's see. I want to see what zones it says it's for.
Probably 10, or mostly 10. That's where it's grown commercially.
Yes. Lychee 10A and 11. 10A and 11. So yeah, which it's great for Palm Beach County, but in Hernando, it will freeze.
If you let it freeze, if you have a way to keep it from freezing, you can definitely give it a try up here.
The person that's treating the oleanders with spinosad, will it affect the pollinator activity in the rest of the garden? Probably not. Almost none of the pollinators have anything to do with oleander. It's poison to just about everything except the oleander caterpillar. So just about everything leaves it alone. The caterpillars are a real pain, and good luck with keeping them down.
They'll come back.
But the moths are beautiful. I will say
They are.
Moths the most patriotic moth we have.
The spotted
flying flag.
Spotted, what is it? Wasp moth? Polka dotted wasp.
Yeah, that's a common name.
It's very pretty. Should look it up. Bernie thinks it's patriotic. It reminds me of Minnie Mouse. I don't just it's just the way Minnie Mouse dresses. Oh,
and Karen says FDAX was tracking those Erinose mites down there in Florida. I can tell you, there are a lot of different species of Aranos mites in the world. The mite pest that most of you would probably be most familiar with are spider mites, which is a different species. They're large enough that you can see them with a hand lens. If you have a dissecting microscope like we have here at the office, you can definitely see them. They're small, but they're big enough where you can, find them and identify them and see them. Aranos mites are extremely tiny. Even with a dissecting microscope, you have to look long and hard and look at the right spot to be able to find them because they're really tiny, and that makes them difficult to control. I know that there are some controls and pesticides listed. There are, for commercial growers, specific miticides or acaricides, you could use either term, that are pesticides that are designed to kill specifically mites. So your insecticide or insecticidal soap or whatever you might use for normal insect pests sometimes are not going to work that well on mites. So like I said, UF has a lot of really good information on it. They've been around for a year or two, something like that. So it's not a brand new discovery. They do have ways of controlling them. Teresa is already posting up some very important, valuable information here. So if you live a little bit south of us and you have a lychee, because we do have a lot of regular followers that live south of us, this is very important information.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Teresa, she's giving some advice here, and I like this advice better than using any chemical. She has a sacrificial oleander. So when she sees the caterpillars, she goes and puts them on the sacrificial oleander, and they chew it up. They chew that one up, but it grows back, and it is a beautiful moth.
That's
so that
a great
would be
idea.
The non-chemical way of handling it. But perhaps, I don't even remember who asked the question, doesn't have another oleander, but, maybe use the one that's already being eaten as your sacrificial one and buy, is Bill, okay, and buy a...
He's got two oleanders. You can pick one that's going to look good and the other one that's going to look pretty rough on and off.
I tell people to keep your oleanders in the back. They're by no means going to be a specimen tree for you. You may think they're going to be, but you have your choices when it comes to oleanders. And as we always say, if you have a plant and there's an insect named after that plant, there's a 99.99999% chance you're going to have a problem with that insect.
You will encounter it at some point.
So what do the oleander caterpillars do? Well, they make the oleander ugly. They don't destroy it if it's a mature oleander. So here are your options. I guess you can take your chances with, just putting that spinosad just on the oleander. Make sure there's no drift or anything, because it's going to kill caterpillars. You're trying to kill caterpillars, so other caterpillars could be harmed. Or you could do Teresa's way with the sacrificial one. Never count on that tree to be a beautiful specimen tree for your front yard. Just don't have it for that. Or don't have oleanders. Those are your three choices. So
I erred and put oleanders in the front yard as a hedge, and I couldn't keep up with them.
Right.
I would spray, and 3 days later I would have an entirely denuded plant from a completely new group. It's amazing how quick they come up. So it became a thing that if you don't want to scout them every day and treat them as soon as you find them, the plants are never going to look pretty. You're right there. And eventually, if you just let them go, they get beat down to the point where they start dying off. So it's pretty sad.
They must be very salt tolerant, because you go to the East Coast and they are everywhere. Right on A1A, just rows of oleanders. Maybe in that situation with the high wind, maybe that helps keep them more at bay or something, or maybe they just keep replacing them. I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know about their salt tolerance.
It's obviously high.
Yeah, obviously that caterpillar does have plenty of natural enemies. Like Teresa put up here, we have predatory stink bugs, tachinid flies, different parasitoid wasps. There's basically one for every different insect species out there. Something.
Wow, who wrote this? The ever voracious red imported fire ant. UF is getting, dramatic now in their publications.
Well,
no, ants in a lot of instances, and it's not just fire ants, but it includes fire ants, but it includes other species also. A lot of them are predators. And if you have them in your garden, they will march up your plant and they will pluck off all the thrips, the aphids, things like that. Sometimes they protect the aphids, but with thrips, they'll grab them all, they'll eat them all. So ants can give you a certain amount of protection. Everybody goes into a panic. Oh my gosh, I see an ant. Oh my gosh, there's a little hole in the ground with an ant coming out of it. What do I spray? I have to get rid of it. All ants are fire ants. No, they're not. All of them are bad. No, they're not. Harvester ants eat primarily weed seeds. That's kind of a good thing, helps to have fewer weeds. It's
the more native ants you have, the more niche they're going to take up, so you won't have the red fire ants.
So if you have a specific dangerous ant, it's a fire ant, and it's in a spot where your children, whatever, are going to encounter it. Yeah, maybe you need to control it, but don't think that you have to blanket control every square inch of property that you control to get rid of every possible living thing out there because it's all bad.
That's all part of control insects responsibly. And spot treating. Well, the very first thing you do is find out, is this problem a problem? And then find, if your answer is yes, and it is a problem, is it a problem worth my time, energy, and money? And once you determine, yes, it is that, then, what is the proper way? And, to take care of this? And is there a non-chemical way? And if not, then choose the right chemical for the right problem.
And then follow up to make sure that it worked and you got everything right up to that point. Yes. And Karen makes a good point here. Oleander caterpillars do also feed on desert rose, and I believe that they'll feed on mandevilla plants for anybody who has them in their yard also. Oleander, the moth and the oleander caterpillars are native to Florida, but oleander, I believe, is not native to Florida.
No, it's not native.
So these caterpillars, there were plants near the coast that they would feed on, and we weren't overwhelmed with them. But then we brought oleanders in, started planting them, and this is one of those insects that looked at it and was like, we can eat that. As a matter of fact, it's pretty darn tasty.
Mm-hmm. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet. You know what all-you-can-eat buffet? What do they attract? People who want to eat.
Years ago, they put oleanders in the median along I-4 through all of downtown Orlando. Thousands of oleanders, and they all got like 15 feet tall. And when they all crashed and burned and started to look terrible and got freeze damage, it looked awful for a while. They're long gone now. I don't think there's any left. But
I accidentally ran across something yesterday which talked about they're not sure how crepe myrtles entered our country. I'm pretty sure it was in the 1700s and may have been through the port of Norfolk. It's either through the port of Norfolk or a port in North Carolina. Now that was interesting to me because I spend time in the Norfolk. I got to say it their way. Norfolk, Hampton Roads area. That's where my son lives. Crepe myrtles as far as the eye can see. As all the street trees are crepe myrtles. Then in the coastal part of Virginia, So that's interesting to me that that could have been how they entered, and that's why there's so many there. And they let them grow. They don't prune them. They're gorgeous. But every time I'm there, I'm thinking these are beautiful. But my God, if we get a crepe myrtle disease or a crepe myrtle insect, they're going to be in big, big, big trouble because it's like their only urban trees that they have.
Yeah.
And the lesson, there is diversity. It has to be diversity is the key to a healthy ecosystem.
Diversity and variety.
Yeah.
So and I had an issue where somebody tried to argue that crepe myrtles were invasive, and I had to look long and hard to make sure that there is no state in the U.S. where crepe myrtles are listed as invasive. Overplanted, sure.
Yes.
But not invasive. They don't cause any kind of health issues, environmental issues. They don't spread out of control all on their own. They do, the flowers will turn to seeds. They're like little hard marbles or pellets or whatever. You crack it open. You can plant those seeds and grow your own tiny little crepe myrtles. It takes a couple years for it to grow up where it's flowering, but you can do it. But if you go for a hike in the woods, our forests and our woods are not overrun with crepe myrtles.
No.
They are with camphors and air potato and a lot of other invasives.
You know what I've seen all over Juniper Springs in the Ocala National Forest? Citrus.
Exactly.
That's just left over from grows.
No. It's actually growing. It's being spread.
New, young citrus. Yeah.
The foresters are starting to complain about it. Citrus actually does very well, and it does well from seed, and the animals are moving it. So.
Yep. Good morning, Lee.
And there's some information on crepe myrtle.
I'm not saying don't have a crepe myrtle. I had a crepe myrtle. They're gorgeous. I'm just saying it's not a good idea for that to be your entire cityscape. And I think one day they'll be sorry for that.
Crepe myrtles do tend to put up a lot of little crepe myrtles all over the yard.
They can.
And if you keep it mowed, you never notice it. But I suppose that under some circumstance that could be invasive, but I don't think it would go that far. But on the other hand, queen palms are invasive if you want to talk about.
They're invasive, and where Lee is, where Lee is and where our Karen is, all our southern people, queen palms are considered invasive in South Florida. And as we told we had a class about storms and trees on Tuesday at Timber Pines. And I went over the lists of trees which have shown strong wind resistance, medium wind resistance, and low wind resistance. And I told them, if a queen palm in your yard overhears the news that a storm is coming, it just goes ahead and falls down.
They're not the safest in a storm.
No. And, that's kind of one of the characteristics of any invasive trees. They're fast growing and they're weak.
Yeah, camphors are brittle and they drop a lot of twigs and junk. People complain about the little berries, the little black berries that they make, and they fall on my car and this and that.
Or no, they get reprocessed and deposited on the car too.
Yeah. Birds do eat them, and that's the main way that they get spread out in the natural areas. Golden rain tree, very twiggy. You're going to be out there raking up junk from underneath the tree out in your yard at least a couple times a year. So a lot of the invasive ones.
China berry,
twiggy, messy, has berries.
Yeah, that's how they get spread. So Karen would like to know if we're having any problems with lethal bronzing. Unfortunately, yes.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
What's really sad is that the cabbage palms are really getting nailed in this county. If you look at any place where there's cabbage palms, if there's any quantity at all, some of them have got bronzing. There's about 8 or 9 planted along the highway on my way to work that are showing bronzing now. So, and there's probably 10 of them that are already gone. So,
Yeah.
Yep. And I think we discussed it last week somewhat, and we discussed the pros and cons of, I mean, there's no treatment, but the pros and cons of prevention through using injections of antibiotics. You want to go over that a little bit again, Bill?
I'm gonna buy a kit, and I'm gonna buy the antibiotics. I'm gonna start injecting mine. I have to get them tested first to ensure that they don't have it. I have a great big dead Sylvester palm tree right out my front yard. The big one right out front, got it, and it's dead as a doornail.
The one with the lantana growing out of it?
No, that's one of the smaller ones. It's the big one that was right out front. The ones that we see it on the most here are cabbage palms and Sylvesters and the Canary Island date palms. I know there's plenty of other palms that can get it. I looked at the list the other day, and some of those palms we just don't have growing here, or somebody, maybe a palm collector or enthusiast might have it in their yard. They're not common. Bismarck palms can get it, but we have very few of them here. Some, but we're technically too far north, although the ones I know of do very well here. And queen palms apparently are susceptible, although I've never seen a queen palm that's gotten it. Bernie, have you heard of anybody who had?
Haven't seen it in queen palms at all. So
I see fusarium in queen palms, and that's usually from dirty trimming equipment. You know, when Bob in his pickup truck comes and trims your palms and takes all the leaves off, it gets fusarium. But yeah, we haven't seen it on a queen palm here. But I guarantee you, we're just going to get a steady stream of calls. Now the weather is warmed up. The plant hopper that spreads it is out there. They're not, hiding for the winter anymore. We're going to see more and more trees with it.
Looks like we have a question from Donna here.
Yes. Donna says, we have numerous podocarpus and large growing bushes. We can no longer climb ladders to trim. How do we handle landscaping companies that use their tools to trim and may bring unwanted pests to our landscape? We do not use any pesticides as our yard is very Florida friendly and plenty of wildlife and good insects, birds, butterflies, etc.
I would probably try to find someone that, if that's what you're looking for, who's more of a handyman, who doesn't take his tools from place to place to place to place to place, on a daily basis. And maybe that you could talk more into, rubbing the tools down with alcohol, the day before he's going to come to your house and use them or something, just to make sure.
Yeah, just talk to him, because all it takes is a spray bottle with rubbing alcohol, kind of grocery store rubbing alcohol. Spray it on the equipment. It dries within a minute or two. You don't have to sit there and dry it off. It dries automatically. And that's all it takes to stop the spread of those fungal and bacterial.
But if you're getting, a very busy mow, blow, and go company, and they're going to have the young guys who are hot and tired and need to get 25 yards done that day, you are not going to be as successful to talk to them about this concierge kind of service. That's why I'm suggesting maybe someone who can do that job for you who's a little less busy. And you might have better luck that way than all over around a handyman kind of thing, handy woman, handy person kind of.
Yeah, just buy a bottle of 90% rubbing alcohol and a little spray bottle, And when they show up, tell them before they use the tools that you want them to spray the tools. You know, you pay, they should do what you want. And if they don't want to do what you want to do, why do you pay them? I have this argument all the time. People complain about the lawn care. They won't mow it at 4 inches. They mow it at 2 inches. And no matter what I say, they don't change. Well, don't pay them. You have the power of the purse. And if
power of the purse. Yeah.
Yep.
That makes you the what? That makes you the boss, right? Yes.
Yeah. Big kahuna, the head honcho.
Therefore, you get to tell people what to do. Don't let them intimidate you. If they do, move on.
90% spray, that stuff's gone in a hurry. Doesn't hurt anybody to put it on. They can spray real quick. You only tie them up for maybe 2 minutes to sterilize everything they're going to use. And maybe if you do that, they'll get smart and do it for the other customers then.
There you go.
And that's good advice for anybody who's gardening out there, to do with your own equipment, your own tools. You don't want to be spreading diseases amongst your plants in your yard.
Socially distance your equipment. And sanitize.
So Bernie, is it easy to graft crepe myrtle for having more colors of flowers as on the same tree?
I have never seen that.
I have no idea. That's one of those things that I have never had anybody talk about.
Well, grafting,
crepe myrtles.
I can answer the question. If you put easy and grafting in the same sentence, the answer is no. Grafting is never easy. You got to get that all lined up.
You graft it. You can probably do it.
It's worth a try. Experiment. And then we can do a
it.
whole new line of Bossem crepe myrtles.
They look interesting, different colors on one tree. You'd have to do it
really pretty to have, white and purple, white and pink. Yeah.
Fruit salad myrtle.
I'm sorry.
I'm almost positive that it's not that hard to air layer crepe myrtles to get new plants of the same color to make more of them for your yard.
Oh, Denise, who the heck is Denise? Sorry, Teresa has a video.
Teresa found a video of somebody who did it, so that will probably help.
That's pretty cool. So go to YouTube, Bossem, if you can't write this all down because that's a silly XNN3. Just go to YouTube and put in grafting crepe myrtle. See what you come up with.
Yeah, propagation is a huge topic, and all different plants can be propagated in all different ways. Some are easy, some are really, really, really hard. Some, if you do it the right time of year and follow the right method, you'll have great success.
Some you have to line up the cambium layers just so, yes.
Citrus is obviously grafted. Every citrus tree you buy is grafted, so it's
except the ones growing wild in the Ocala National Forest. But if they grew any oranges, you don't want to eat them. Those would be sour oranges.
Actually, there's some sweet oranges that are growing wild in the forest.
Also. Really? How does that happen?
If you had a sweet tree someplace, those seeds grow just as well as the wild ones. You know, the grafting thing is because of the nematode problem. So if you have an area where you don't have nematodes, all the citrus will grow on its own rootstock.
Right, but I thought if it didn't have the sweet graft attached to it, that it would be a sour orange.
No, it's purely whatever the variety is what it will be. And there's some things where you don't graft them out. You don't graft lemon trees here. You don't graft lime trees here, because if you're going to plant a lime tree here, the odds are it's going to get killed. The frost is going to take it out.
Mm.
So you want it to come back as the same tree. So you put it on its own rootstock. If it gets hit, it comes back as whatever it was to start with.
Hi! Turn your camera around.
What is happening?
Oh my goodness.
It looks like everybody is coming in.
Lily, is there anything you want to share with us?
Oh, yeah.
We'll miss
Bye.
you. We miss you.
Oh, I love that, Gordon.
Even Gordon, you got the boss to come in.
Oh no. Some people have recircled back around.
Lily, is it your birthday or something? Or are you just special for some reason?
One more time. Wait a minute. Did you set that up, Bill?
I had nothing to do with that.
Well,
But is there something that you need to share with the audience?
I think I've been kind of forced into it, haven't I? If they were able to read those signs as that went by. I mentioned last week I had an important announcement. We have a very special announcement. And all of my coworkers just kind of outed me. I will be here next week with you on Thursday, the 6th, and I will be retiring on Friday, the 7th. I'm taking a early retirement to spend time traveling with my husband. If you saw the Pittsburgh sign that went by, we have purchased a little cottage, 95-year-old cottage, not in Pittsburgh, about 40 miles out of Pittsburgh. I do have a lot of family around that area. 40 miles and 50 years outside of Pittsburgh. It's called Apollo. If Corey's watching, he may know where that is. And yeah, so that's what's happening. I'm gonna, this is the best job. I'm sorry, Monique. This is the best job I've ever had, and I am very sad to leave it. But it's also and Bernie is one of my best friends. But I will keep in touch. We bought the place as a landing place. We sold our house here at the beginning of the month, and we looked around Florida to try and downsize and get a place and still have the money to travel, and that's just not going to happen in Florida. So we found this little cottage in Pennsylvania. That'll be our landing place. Probably really won't start traveling till next spring because there's a lot to do at that place to fix it up. But we've already booked a space in an RV park in Bushnell where we will be from November to March because we're not that crazy to not be here in the winter. So you got one more virtual plant clinic with me. Maybe, maybe not. I've been talking to Bill. Maybe we'll have a little segment of, Lily's Pennsylvania project once a month or something like that to show you that yard from how I get it. And I will be learning from scratch. I left Pennsylvania.
We always welcome special guests here on the virtual plant clinic.
I left Pittsburgh when I was 11. I've lived here ever since. So as far as plant-wise, I'll be starting from scratch. Lots of new adventures coming. So that's what that train of every coworker I have in this building with all their signs was about.
At least they didn't come in like Teresa did on me with the exploding thing.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
are still hanging from the ceiling right now. I'll never get all of them. There'll always be at least a few here until we move out of this building and they tear the walls out.
Yes. So, yep. So I have a lot of people were envious. It's as I was just telling a niece of mine who lives up there. We're discussing this and that and the other, and I told her it's not real. None of it's real. None of it's real. I'm just going through the motions, waiting to wake up. Because it was a decision we kind of made last October. and started moving towards it. So thank you, Teresa. Yes. So will whoever fills in for Teresa. They'll have big shoes to fill. Speaking of which, see, there's no one beside me here. There will be someone else. I gave them 8 weeks notice. Bill and Bernie have known for a long time.
Yeah, and every time I hear it, it doesn't make it any easier.
Yeah.
You've created the big paradox. One, you're going to be impossible to replace, but you've done such a great job of putting this together that only an idiot would louse it up coming in behind you. It's
Whoever comes.
It's such a strange feeling there to know that whoever is in your job hasn't made it. It's going to be really easy to continue on, but you'll never be replaced. You'll always be remembered for exactly what you are, a fantastic star in an otherwise dark field. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Whomever comes in, they're still doing interviews. So there's one more interview next week.
Mm-hmm.
Just how government works. I gave them 8 weeks notice, but getting all the different departments to, put the job description together, get it out. It has to run internally first. There were no applicants, and then run externally and get applicants, filter through them, go with their schedules. So Dr. Lester happens to be on the interview team. The irony of the situation is last Friday, I went to Master Gardener training, kind of taking over in the afternoon, even though I did leave them alone. They were good on their own, but taking over in the afternoon because Bill had to leave, and why he had to leave was to go interview someone for my position. It was a weird feeling.
It was a busy day.
So, yeah. So there's one more interview next week. Whomever is chosen will make it their own. It'll be different than me. So,
and hopefully they will inherit your little box right over here.
There you go. Yes.
We're going to have to keep things lined up. If we get out of line, Bernie notices. So they're going to have your little box right over here.
This morning he got on and he's like, "You two are in the wrong place." So we had to switch back to make him still feel comfortable. Yes. Because I happened to.
There's nothing wrong. I'm not sure what.
I happened to pop in first, so I was on the, left side as you're looking at the screen, and Bernie made us fix that. But it is Dr. Bill's virtual plant clinic, so he should be first. So
I didn't even notice. As long as I could see myself on the screen, I figured we're good to go.
See, now I feel like I shouldn't come back next week since everyone's acting like I'm leaving today. Well, good. I've successfully changed someone's thinking on watering and contributed to helping making them landscaping Florida friendly. That's what what all of us are here for. It is, it's a very fortunate person to, have a job that is also their passion. So, and to be able to help people make a difference.
Plus, it seems like most of the times when I try calling you over there, you're busy having pizza and cupcakes.
No, that is not true. He totally makes that up. He totally makes that up.
So it seems like a pretty sweet gig to me too.
Yeah, see, they've started decorating.
For
I told them they couldn't decorate in here till after 11. That's for tomorrow. We just have lunch together. It's for Independence Day, and Lily's independence is an addendum onto that tomorrow's celebration. So yes, it's. I'm sure I'm not even going to go through a mourning period of like missing the job and missing the people, but I'll be back in the winter, and we can keep in touch virtually as well. So
yeah, I mean, that's the nice thing about this way of doing things. I mean, You know, all three of us are in separate spots. Although Bernie is just at the other side of the building. He's not that far away. Sure. I mean, I know that since the beginning of COVID, I've had guest speakers from all over Florida. I had the macro photography expert from Ohio. I thought before, you know, I could get experts from around the world on something like this, no matter where you're at. We can put you on, and we can all be together, and we can all learn together.
Yep. And like I said, I'll be glad to pop on, show you around. It's going to be little. It's a little yard. Show you around there and perhaps get advice from some of the transplants on, like, you know, what do I do with this lilac or this crabapple? Or, you know,
yeah, you're talking about crabapple. What's on my crabapple and what's wrong with my rhododendron?
Yeah.
And you'll be out in your yard popping open on Iron City, and you know.
My lilacs in bloom. You
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, if you start having lily withdrawal, there's always 100 and some pre-recorded things that you're welcome to go back and watch. So it is possible to survive. It just will be a little more difficult.
No.
Yes. All those classes are recorded if you go to YouTube and look up Hernando County Government and pull down the list of different playlists. Lily has a playlist with 120-ish.
No, there's like 113, 114, something like that.
Just shy of 120. I've got a number of them on there also on my own playlist, and we're always adding to them every time. So
and many of mine are, you know, we're together, Bill and I. And I told him a story when he popped on before we went on air. I told him he scared me to death last night. And here's, you know, consider this as a way to use these YouTube videos. So I'm staying at my sister's house because I sold my house. And I came in last night. Nobody else was there. I came in around 9:00 because I was doing some grandma Ubering. Another reason I will definitely be back in Florida. I have a child and grandchildren here, as well as up there. Anyway, about 9:00, and she lives in the woods. It's dark, and I was going by myself and opened the door and hear a man talking. Just scared me to death. And then I remembered, oh yeah, for my little doggies that I have in a room there when I'm not there and they're in their little kennels, I have my laptop sitting there, went to my playlist and hit play all. It calms them down to hear me. And they're used to hearing Bill from the COVID year when I worked from home. So just another use you may not have thought of. Just don't scare yourself with it. Who was this? I'm originally from PA and think about moving back. No, I'm not. Keeping my house here. That's funding the whole adventure. No, I have a daughter that was born and raised here who will never leave. So I will definitely be back. And our oldest daughter lives in Pennsylvania, around the corner from where we will be. We'll be staying during the nice months. So yeah, I'll be coming back and forth. Yeah, I don't know who that Facebook user was, but thank you. You get to grow all the things we wish for down here. No, you know, make the best.
You get to shovel snow too.
Yes. Okay, just answered. So, okay. So yes, we have our oldest daughter's in Pennsylvania. Our son is in Hampton Roads, Virginia. He's in the Army. And the middle daughter, like I said, never getting her out of Florida. I'll be happy to get her to come up to visit when it's warm and sunny up there, those 3 days. So, so I'll be doing, and we want to just go see the country too.
It's okay in the spring and fall up there. You got to have your timing down right. I went to the only time I've ever been to Colorado, I went to a conference there, and Nora was able to come along with me, and it was in July. Colorado in July is great. It's beautiful. It's warm. I'm like, how do people drive in the snow here? The roads go up the side of the mountain like
Yeah.
this.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's Pittsburgh. That road you
No,
just showed is all of Pittsburgh. So,
And I grew up in that, but that was long ago and far away. So
yeah. Okay. Well, now that we've blown everyone with an unexpected announcement, and all my coworkers, that was all of Hernando County Utilities, by the way. Not all of them. A great portion of Hernando County Utilities that you saw parade by. It was the engineering department and the finance department. And Alice, my boss.
they wanted to crash your show. Will you be on here next week?
Yes, I will.
Okay. I will be
Who
also.
was buying the house with the tree that needed repairs? I thought that was in Florida. You are absolutely correct. At the same time that I'm doing this, my Florida daughter with her daughter with her feet buried deep in the sand, who will never leave, she's buying a house in the Floral City area. And that tree that was ratchet strapped is in the yard that she's buying. So, and we have secured an RV park for the winter that is 10-15 minutes from her new house. And not too far for me to stop down and visit Bernie on Thursdays once in a while.
So
Okay.
I guess this email is only going to work for a week or two.
It'll be forwarded to the, you don't have the Hernando County FFL. If you can write that down.
No, I don't have that.
Hernando County FFL at hernandocounty.us. It'll be forwarded to that generic one, so the new person will have a base, to see what's going on.
So Hernando County FFL at Hernando County
.us.
.us.
It's very long.
Yes, it is.
There you
But
go.
don't worry, everybody. I got Lily's cell phone number, so as soon as she's gone, we'll just put it on a ticker and scroll it every episode. Call her if there's anything on your mind. You think about plants in the middle of the night, give her a ring. She's happy to help.
Monique, she says we're all shocked. I'm kind of surprised she hadn't caught on before. But because her and Corey are, they see my personal Facebook, so I didn't know if they're other people. I haven't really been saying anything. And the reason why is because if you tell people too soon, other than, people you're very close to, like Bill and Bernie, they automatically put you in a drawer in their mind as gone. You're gone. And so when they see you, they keep saying, why are you still here? So,
What are you doing here? I thought you were
Yes.
leaving. Not yet.
yes, exactly. And also making sure everything fell into place, that it was, really happening. So there's the Master Gardener nurse.
Hey guys, you know what we're going to do next week? We're going to let everybody who wants to join us here live do so. So next week, I'll give Teresa a link for you to log in. And if you email her, she'll send it to you. So you will need a webcam. Mine hooks to the very top of my monitor here. And you need a microphone. So when you talk, we can hear you. Otherwise, you're going to be, looking a little strange. So if you have a webcam and a microphone, you can join on and say goodbye to Lily yourself. And I'll be sure to have her cell phone number all logged in here for sharing with everybody.
Well, that's okay because I've also, I'm not old enough for Medicare. So I've been exploring insurance options. And I can tell you that makes my phone ring pretty much continuously. It is actually very harassing once you start trying to search for that. Texts and phone numbers. I've got it worked out, by the way. So that's all worked out. But so yeah, I'm real good at ignoring phone calls. Well, the new person who will come visit my yard to certify it Florida friendly now. I really wish I could have introduced you to whoever it's going to be. But the timing.
We'll know soon enough, and they'll be on here soon enough.
So there may be a lag.
With the yard certifications, they're redoing that whole program.
Yes, you're right.
And they will send out information.
Okay, so next week
on how they're going to go about doing it.
Next Wednesday, the 5th, will be my last Zoom Wednesday class called Pledge to Go Florida Friendly. And so what Bill just said, they are kind of moving away from it's the whole process of certifying your yard, making it so simple, easy that anyone can go online. You can go right now and pledge to go Florida Friendly. Just go to Florida Friendly Landscaping, UF. As soon as you get to that site, you'll see the Pledge to Go Florida Friendly to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Florida Friendly Landscaping existing. You just make that pledge. I mean, it doesn't get you a sign for your yard or anything, but it makes it a whole lot easier because, if you pledge even some of the things, if I guess what they're looking at is if they get a whole lot of people to each do a little bit, that's a bigger impact than a few people doing a lot. So you kind of follow there. And that's what the class will be about. My last class will be about pledging to go Florida Friendly, about specifically the website to do it, but also what that means for people. So I think the yard certification still exists at that point, but it was UF people who told Bill and I that might be falling by the wayside.
Yeah, well, the last I heard or I saw mention in an email of their restructuring that.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't heard specifically they've done away with it, never to be seen again.
It got stricter. I know that.
Yeah.
And I was very much in favor of that. And it was only like a 4-year certification. And you had to keep going back to be recertified, like in the middle of that and then having to do it again. And, very good reasons for that, because we've driven by signs that say Florida Friendly and we're like, really? Or people do it just to sell their house, and then the new people keep that sign up, but they've totally changed everything.
They started a used car lot in the front yard, things like that.
Yeah.
Things change.
Mm-hmm.
We saw some really clever interpretation of the rules. Expected. So, saw a couple of places where people 100% not only got it right, they got it exactly with what the intent was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. We saw a lot of people that met the rules that didn't meet the intent, which was kind of strange. And most of them didn't meet the intent, but it was still in a good way. So we didn't really mind giving them the certificate. But
the first things, because I guess UF realized what was happening, so they changed the first rule to, get a Florida Friendly certified yard is the yard must fit in with the aesthetics of the neighborhood, and you must follow the rules of your HOA.
Yeah, guys, if you bought a house in an HOA, you had to sign the papers that have the rules. So you should have read them first. You should know what you're getting into. If you disagree with the rules, run for HOA president. Have your other friends run. I mean, work to be the change you want to see in your neighborhood, but don't think I don't like these rules, therefore they must get rid of them.
Look at this one from Facebook user. Is really growing. It's up and coming. Pittsburgh is. This person is from Philadelphia. Pittsburgh is, for a long time has been an up and coming place. We'll be 40 miles out of Pittsburgh, and my husband promises never to go in. I will be going there quite a bit because I enjoy the city, and I want to take lots of pictures. And I do have a cousin I need to visit there and that kind of thing. But yeah, it's a very vibrant city actually. Their nephew is the governor of PA. Wow, wonder who this who Facebook user is. Okay. All right. Well, it's after 11, Bill. We probably should wrap it up. And I'm afraid to leave this room now, actually.
Okay, thanks so much, everyone. We will all be back again next week. Who knows who else we might have with us? Try to find. We do have a couple of new people who are with the county who I need to invite and have on here soon. Mm-hmm. But next week will be Lily's last Thursday morning in the co-host chair, basically.
Maybe Bernie will push me out of my place up here.
No.
Facebook user was Cindy from Pinellas County.
Okay.
So,
interesting.
When
see, now I want to see that makes it kind of sad. Come on next week, Cindy, so I can hear you talk. Although I'm going to hear part of, like I've been here for 45 years, so I hear although Philadelphia is a little bit different, but a Western Pennsylvania accent 3 aisles over in a Walmart. I can hear it. So when I'm up there, I can't stop noticing. So like in a restaurant or something, I'm like, everybody just stop talking so I can concentrate, because all I'm thinking is, well, they have a Pittsburgh accent. Well, they have a Pittsburgh accent. Well, of course, they all do. So I'll need to, I wonder how long it'll take to stop doing that. When you hear me talking that way, that's when it'll stop.
You'll have to get used to the accent and also having fresh scrapple for breakfast every morning.
Yes, I've never had scrapple. That would be Cindy's thing from Philadelphia. Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, guys, thank you so much. We'll be back here again next week, and I will have it all set up where we'll go ahead and send that link out for people to be able to actually come on here, get your own little box, and join us live. I can have 10 people on here. The boxes start to get a little small, but we can have a bunch of people on here, and we'll just have a great time. Wishing Lily farewell, and enjoy your scrapple up there in Pennsylvania, and the rhododendrons and hostas and things like that.
Hostas, yeah.
I can't help an awful lot with, because they don't do really well here in Florida.
Maple syrup on the scrapple.
I've never had scrapple. We're talking about scrapple. Pittsburgh has pierogies and shipped ham and no to scrapple. Okay. What zone is that? I think I looked it up. So, Monique, and it was 6.
For anybody who's not familiar with scrapple, like Lily is, there's some information on what scrapple is. Very popular up in Pennsylvania.
The other side, not the side I'm going on.
Yeah, you'd be eating the Pennsylvania Dutch stuff and doing woodworking and polishing the wood. You'll have a great time up there.
Okay. All right, I have rain barrels.
Okay, everyone. I think
time this afternoon
at this point.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. We'll see you all again next week. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.